Chip, I know how hard you work to start, build, and run your hotel group.
Yeah.
You've talked about it a lot with me and in the books that you've written. Some real up and down times over the course of your career. What equation best explains this way that we drive ourselves? And when does it work and when is it not so great?
Well, I like to think of there being a distinction between workaholism and calling, and we'll talk about calling maybe in a few minutes. But for workaholism, there's many of us who use our work as a distraction from some emotions that we felt maybe since childhood. The equation for workaholism is workaholism equals what are you running from divided by what are you living for. So let's look at the two components. What are you running from? Well, workaholism is like any addiction. It's easy to rationalize it, and in the United States, it's actually championed. Donald Trump, gets out and talks about the fact he only sleeps 4 hours or 5 hours a night, and that he works 8 days a week. And we live in a society that really bolsters our sense that if I do, I do, therefore I am. To use a little bit of old philosophy. So I think that what we need to sort of look at is, are we running away from something else? What are we running? What are we running from? And is there something else in your life that's actually sort of distracting you? You're trying to distract yourself from. So I don't want to spend too much time on that because I actually think that that's a bigger, frankly, psychological issue. But that bottom of the equation I'd like to spend a couple minutes on, which is what are you living for? And whether it's putting a picture of your daughter on your computer, or whether it's allocating time weekly or monthly for family activities with no gadgets, zero gadgets, whether it's actually reconnecting with friends that you went to college with and just saying, I'm making a commitment that once every 3 months we're going to hang out, or we're going to actually talk by phone, or we're going to do this. That's the part. Or it's committing to some cause in life, social cause, political cause, religious cause that's really important to you. That piece of the equation, which is the bottom of the equation, if you have a big bottom here, you actually reduce the workaholism. Because what you're showing is that there's other things in life that are important. What's sad is during this downturn, the Great Recession we've been in, I've had 6 different friends. In the book I talk about 5, but I had a 6th friend who've committed suicide. 4 of the 6 are entrepreneurs. And it's partly because they were so workaholic and their identities were so aligned with their company that when their company went down in the recession, they felt like there was nothing in themselves left to show up for life. So they were on that roller coaster, which we all are on with our companies, where it goes up and down. And in that and when you go to the down phase, in some cases where the business went out of business, they didn't feel like, when the business went out of business, they went out of life. And so this equation helps us to sort of have that level of balance.
So let's. This is particularly important, I think, to our members. Mm-hmm. What would you recommend? How do we influence that denominator? What are some specific things that you would have people do?
Well, I think one of the questions to ask yourself, you can do this whether it's with a coach or with someone else in Renaissance, or with your wife, your husband, whomever. Making a list of what's important to you. Really getting clear on what are the things that are going to endure. On our deathbed, what they've shown and been able to show in surveys is that what really matters to us is were we well loved, and did we love well? Those are the 2 questions people tend to ask. Were we well loved? They don't ask it exactly, but that's sort of it. Were we well loved, and did we love well? So if you know that your relationships with people are going to be what's going to endure more than anything, how are you investing in that? How do you make time for that? We're all very wrapped up in our to-do lists. I am, as much as anybody. But what's your to-be list? Have you created a to-be? You want to be a father. Okay, that's great. That's on your to-be list. That's not a to-do list thing. I want to be, a social activist about this particular cause. That's a to-be thing. I want to be, a Little League baseball coach for my son or daughter's team. Put together a to-be list and actually hold that sacred. And because if you hold that sacred, you're going to start putting things in your life that are going to help you to balance out all that time and energy that are going to your company and to your work.